What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosa. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening today, man?
Oh, I'm enjoying a good long backlog of games, and it feels really good. I think tonight I'm going to indulge in some Splinter Cell from the golden era.
Yeah, that was an era of its own by now. I think this is feels like it's a decade ago, dude. That was.
I think it was actually a decade ago.
It probably was. Yeah, absolutely. Dude, coming up this weekend on September 17th and 18th is the big game. That's right. It's our Big Brothers Big Sisters charity stream. 24 games in 24 hours. We have special guests, giveaways. So make sure you stop by, help support a great cause. Go to insidethegame.ca. You can click on that big banner for Big Brothers Big Sisters and help support a great cause. Scott, coming up on today's show, dude, more with Google Stadia as we were asked for help. And Wolverine is going to be a full game, as the director has talked about. And we have leaks on Arkane's next game, Redfall. You ready to get going in today's show?
Yeah, that sounds like quite an interesting one. I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be a juicy one, that's for sure. Dude, let's talk about Stadia, because what's going on, we got a little bit more information as far as the Stadia director of games moves to Google Cloud division. So he hasn't left. Well, this is what we talked about yesterday, right? And this is kind of where the question came from. A fan hit us up yesterday over there on YouTube, actually. So do us a favor, hit over there and hit us up with a good old subscribe and like. And they hit us up asking for some help with some clarification on a couple things. They want to know what region it's in, how many games are on the platform, and a couple other things. But to get going is Jack Buser actually left their somewhat division of where he started with, and he's moved over to the Google Cloud division. So Google Cloud sees incredible momentum across all industries, and gaming is one of the key verticals we are investing in, said a spokesperson just the other day. Jack's hire illustrates Google Cloud's continued investment into our global customer-first gaming strategy, and his 5 years at Google will help open doors for broader strategic partnerships with customers across YouTube, Stadia, and more. This comes from Mitchell Keller in the statement. Dude, so Jack's still there technically, but he's just moved on to a different division to keep the gaming side alive. But it sounds like they're opening up the scope of Google Stadia and not keeping it just confined into Stadia games, right? He was the director of games for Stadia. Now he's the director of games for Google Cloud.
Yeah, this seems to be like a reassurance that he's gone on to a more intensive project, a higher kind of echelon of the bigger picture.
Yeah,
that's what I get from this. It's kind of, it sounds like he's more or less a liaison between these companies and different strategies to make it all work together.
Which it sounds like, I don't know, does it sound like a promotion to you? Because Mr. Perfect hit us up over on YouTube asking if that's what the case was, right? He thought it was sounding more of like an upgrade or a promotion in his career. I haven't talked to Jack. I should reach out maybe and ask him, see what he has to say. But Jack brings 20 years of experience within the industry, as well as a unique blend of business and technical knowledge to further expand our ability to serve gaming customers. So their focus is still on gaming. That's the biggest thing for us, right? So as Stadia fans, it just sounds like they're... Dude, I kind of wonder, honestly, if this now branches into like the Google Play Store.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, because they're kind of combining their efforts onto a lot of different fronts. That might very well be it.
Yeah. So Mr. Perfect hit us up. First of all, dude, nobody's perfect. Let's get. He's looking for some help. He wants to know if he should pay for a PS5 and spend $800, or spend less than $100 and get Stadia. And here's what's going on, right? So if you get the AT&T bundle, like, I'm not about to do an advertisement for this stuff by any means of the stretch, but you can get the AT&T. They got a deal going on where you get 6 months for free for Stadia Pro. Stadia Pro gives you a free library of games, kind of like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold, Games or Gold kind of scenario, right? So that's what you're paying for. So that is what the Pro service offers, and it also allows you to play in 4K. I don't see the 4K coming through unless you have that capabilities on your monitor and so forth, right?
And your very own eyeballs.
Well, that's
in my case. I think from 1080 to 8K, there's no real change for me.
no, for sure. And then they're looking for countries. What countries does it serve? Well, dude, it's like they're really expanded as of late. Right now, it's in United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Germany, Austria, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Denmark, all the way over to Romania and Hungary. So, like, there are a ton of regions. Just check to see if it's in your region is the biggest thing. And then you also asked how many games are on the platform. Well, as of right now, there's about 240 games. Right, so
Okay.
240 games is not a bad lineup when you think about they've only been around for a year, right?
Yeah, that's and it's sure to grow. It's just based on what it's done already. And
Yeah.
this is kind of straddling two game genres at the moment, or sorry, generations at the moment. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if that's weighs into certain decisions they're making. Certain ones probably taking priority than others, but
Yep.
it's Google Stadia was a big high shot. You know, there was kind of everybody kind of looked at it as like, is this a crazy idea? Is this going to be worth it? But they seem to have found kind of a place to exist and strive in. So I think they're going to continue buying up games, and I think it's only going to speed up if anything.
Well, I think so, right? I think they're growing a good library. They've really had it into a partnership with Ubisoft. Like, you've got all the Assassin's Creed games there, like a lot of them anyways, from 3 all the way up to Valhalla, so the most current one.
Yeah.
So you got a whole library there. You've got Ubisoft Plus as well, so you can get on their service to get into Stadia. So that opens up the whole library of what Ubisoft has to offer. And you get into everything from like Borderlands 3 to Celeste, Child of Light. Like, they've got smaller games, they've got bigger games. Darkside Genesis, Darksiders 2, Dead by Daylight. I'm just going through a list over here right now that I'm looking at. Everspace is there. You've got F1 2020 if that's what you're into. There's all kinds of things. Far Cry is there. Even Primal, dude. I like Primal personally. It was
Me too. That was a cool one.
I really did like it. There's Hello Neighbors on here. The Hitman franchise is on there. Hitman 1, 2, and 3. So there's a little bit. I think what Stadia right now is focused on was going in and grabbing a little bit of every genre for somebody to play, right? So at least that way, if you bought the platform, bought into it, you had something to play. At least 1, 2, maybe even 3 games. But there's a lot on here that I personally have played and have worked really well. The biggest thing when it comes to Stadia is, what internet do you have? Do you have the capabilities that it's going to hold well enough that you're going to play? Because there are times all of a sudden my internet will take a slight dip and it'll go pixelated and then it'll bounce back. It also depends on how many people are on your internet in the house of that day too, right? That time of day. So there's a lot of factors playing into this, man.
No, there definitely is. That's kind of the hardest thing. And you might think you have good internet, but just like you said, your roommate's in the next room watching a movie on the internet, and it's all of a sudden it crawls. But I really haven't experienced too much disruption in Stadia as of late. Maybe the last year and a half that I can remember, there wasn't really any sort of delays at all. I've been impressed.
I personally like Stadia. I think it's a great platform. I play it all the time. It's one of my go-to things because I'm able to pick up and go. My kids will take over the TV. Dude, I can put it on my iPad, right? And that was the other thing.
That's really cool.
Exactly. It wasn't on the iPad before. It wasn't on Apple. So now they made a way that you go through Safari and then it's on Apple. So it is there too. It's on my Google. I bought a Google phone just to play Stadia. So I'm on there being able to play it. Now it is really small because it's a phone, so keep that in mind. But then I can go over my big TV, I can plug it into my computer and continue on from there. So it's the accessibility that Stadia brings with it, right? And the fact that I'm not constantly downloading or looking to update games, it's already done. It's already there. And you just turn on the game. Dude, my library of games I'm flipping through, I pick it and just play. That's
if we're going to Montreal again next year or so, then we just don't have to bring anything. There's the video games consist of maybe a pocket of controllers. That's it.
Absolutely, right? So that's what it brings, is the accessibility to the entire thing, instead of having to bundle up a console and then once your console's connected to the TV, you're kind of stuck there. And Stadia kind of frees that up. Now there is Xbox with their cloud service as well, so they do have that platform. PlayStation doesn't have anything right now. that's the other side of it too, right? When you're comparing, you want to compare consoles, it's the accessibility. Dude, your brother in the background is going off right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this is so loud.
So if anybody wants to know, Scott is with his brother right now.
He has a friend over. They're amplifying each other.
So that's what Stadia brings. It's just, I like Stadia. I think it's a great platform. The problem is, you need, as far as I'm concerned, you should have Stadia Pro, because it keeps you a bevy of free games every single month. If you're not looking to buy into new games, Pro gives you this opportunity to play 4 to 6 games a month that they just hand over to you as a platform. Now, they don't have some of the most current stuff. You're not going to get, obviously, any of the first-party games from PlayStation or Xbox. It's all third-party content. And Stadia isn't bringing in any exclusives either. That's the other side of it, right? So it's kind of, I don't know, if you like third-party content, then you're going to be just fine, is kind of where I'm getting at, I think.
Yeah, if Halo's not the thing for you, and if it, you're not too disturbed about not playing Horizon or something like that, then it definitely would fit into something suited for you just fine, especially if you're doing any sort of traveling. Then I would say it makes the difference. Otherwise, I'm a hardware collector myself, so I really do appreciate having the console and the physical games for it.
Well, but if you have
that's not always the most important.
No, but if you have a Gmail account, like, you can at least go on and maybe buy an inexpensive game, plug in an Xbox or a PlayStation controller, and just try it out.
That's true.
There's your other option too, right? See how well it works, and then if it does work well enough and you like the library of games that are on there, then you can invest in it. If you don't, then go with the PS5, because, dude, there's only one way you're going to get Wolverine, and that's our next topic. Scott, Wolverine is a mature, full-sized game. Thank goodness.
It's not a kid-sized value menu game.
So here's
I want it super-sized.
Wolverine's creative director Brian Horton took to Twitter to announce his role on the project. Horton previously directed Spider-Man Miles Morales, right? Not the big Spider-Man-esque game. Miles Morales was a little bit more confined, a little bit of a smaller title, but still a standalone title. I think that's what he's kind of getting at here, which prompted a fan to ask if the Wolverine scope is similar in size or something bigger. Horton responded by simply stating Wolverine is a full-size, mature tone. He doesn't elaborate beyond that, but there are fans speculating now that everything's going to be cool, and the maturity level, I think, is something that needs to be taken care of when you're getting into Wolverine's character.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's like if you were to watch Punisher and there was nothing gory, that would kind of be a letdown, wouldn't it? And,
nobody dies; they just fall over.
Yeah, no, I want to see the Wolverine just take people apart. That's what he is. I mean, that's not a superpower, but it's kind of his whole other power, and I want to see that expressed fully. Because if you just took like a Spider-Man game and you put Wolverine in it, it wouldn't be the right feeling at all. So I want to see them kind of tweak that genre and not just put out a run-of-the-mill hero game.
Absolutely.
I want it to be brutal.
Well, he's got claws for a reason, right? Let's use those claws.
Yeah.
So,
like, it's a wonder he's not in Mortal Kombat yet.
Oh, dude, he would fit
right
so
along
well.
With Baraka.
Could you imagine the fatalities he can pull off too?
Baraka's his nemesis. I'm already seeing it.
Absolutely, dude. We got a couple leaks going on. So, Arkane just released Deathloop. Go check that out. We have a review over on InsideTheGame.ca. You can get a hold of that and get my thoughts. Scott, did you check it out? I'm going to ask you right here on the spot. Have you checked it out?
Yes, I did. I did watch it, and it did a couple things for me. I got very curious about the game, and I also really want to play Dishonored.
Yes, I think honestly, I just want to go back to Dishonored now. Right, it's a cool game. Deathloop is really cool, but there's a lot going on under the hood. If you watch my review, you will understand what I'm talking about. Dude, let's get into what Arkane's up to next, though, as Redfall leaks suggest it's going to be a Borderlands-like looter. Here it comes, man. Nobody really knew what the game was, right? We saw a preview. It looks like there's vampires and there's shooting mechanics, and that's about it. And we're kind of left with a bit of a teaser, and that was meant to be that way.
I was thought about, like, I thought of it kind of as a Left 4 Dead, but a different flavor aesthetic to it. But there's already a couple games occupying that space, especially recently, so I don't want to see that and just compete with Back for Blood and the like. Like, there's no point. So I'm glad to hear that it's something more imaginative. Borderlands is a very rare release, so I don't think that's negative competition in any way.
No, I don't think so at all either. Really, a number of in-development screenshots have leaked from Redfall. They seem to be stolen and subject to probably takedowns. So I'd be careful on that. You might be able to catch it quickly if you go to Windows Central right now. Check that out. Supposedly this project was in the works even before Microsoft acquired Bethesda. Take that to note, Scott. Because what's that now? A year, right? They bought Bethesda and ZeniMax a year ago. So it's already in development back then. Before that, I wonder how long. But we got a couple tidbits of what's going on with the game. Gameplay in the loot, leveling, and adventuring loop is being described as similar to Borderlands with an open world. The map is supposed to be the size of something like Fallout 76 or Ghost of Tsushima. Dude, I'm in.
That sounds that sounds like big enough.
Yep, it works for me. It's a solo or co-op with six playable characters that have at least one unique hero ability. Stealth is an option in gameplay. I can appreciate that. We are both stealth players, so
very good news.
Yes, absolutely. Or you can go guns blazing, a la Steve. Shout out to our buddy from jolly old England.
And he's legendary at just loosing half a clip. You never see it coming.
That's right. Steve, you're never gonna let it go, man. It's never gonna die. Just the rest of us around you. Enemies include both humans and vampires, and there are Borderlands-like major boss fights. The screenshots show rarity loot with special abilities, again tying back to a game like Borderlands, indicating heavy loot focus for the game in general. Dude, this is pretty cool. I'm excited to see a lot more of this game. Vampires really not my thing. I'm gonna be completely honest, but I will check it out. It has I don't like the spookies, right? But
I'm more of a zombies kind of guy, but at the same time, like I like the Borderlands kind of wacky effects that they add to the weapons and the armor and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that the special abilities they're referring to in the screenshots indicate something like that, some sort of text that gives it, rocket launcher that heals things in a blast radius, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
a shotgun rocket launcher. There's all kinds of stuff in Borderlands. Cool.
I saw the screenshots, dude. They were rough looking. Like they're really pixelated. Like it was hard to see anything.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no, it wasn't quality of the game. The game is still in early development, dude. We're probably 2-3 years out yet from even seeing this thing. So I'm not too worried about how the state of the game looks. It was hard to see the actual images themselves of what they leaked. The thing is, like, man, why leak it, Scott? Well, like, why leak that information, dude? People are building this game. Somebody from the inside had to leak it. Oh,
that's because they would have otherwise announced some sort of hack, and it would have been the victim of this situation. But it's somebody on the inside saw it and went, this would be too easy.
I guess, right? But what's not easy is what's going on in the world of Little Big Planet. Dude, I haven't said that name in forever. Like, it's been years since I've said.
No, I forgot about it. It just re-entered my psyche.
Little Big Planet legacy servers to be shut down over safety concerns. Yeah.
What?
I know. Listen to the article, because this is it makes sense. In the end, it actually makes sense. The Little Big Planet Twitter account released a statement announcing its intention to shut down their servers for Little Big Planet 2, the PS3 version of Little Big Planet 3, and Little Big Planet Vita, making the content on Little Big Planet 3 for PS4 the only levels that will survive unscathed. So you will be on
Give the Vita crew something, Don't take it away.
Don't
beat it. It's already dead.
It's already been beaten down, stepped on, and thrown in the mud. It's So the reason given for the shutdown is so that the community remains safe, referring to the end of those server as best way to protect Little Big Planet community and to help ensure that our online environment stays safe. Consolidating servers makes more sense when you consider the troubles that have been plaguing the Little Big Planet games recently, including DDoS attacks and harassment slash hate speech. Dude, that's nuts.
How does that come up on Little Big Planet? Like, is this hate speech because they're talking about like this weird kind of corduroy character, or like how does that?
I'm not sure.
Why is there a place for that? It just doesn't make any sense. And a DDoS attack.
I know.
What?
seriously, have you guys got nothing better to do? Like, it's just
That's insane.
yeah.
Literally anyone else, like, it just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me.
No, I know. I was completely baffled when I saw this. This way, the moderation team probably won't be so stretched thin because of, like, dude, they've had to cover a lot of servers, right? Keep on top of that stuff. So now if you can consolidate it or eliminate some of them in the grand scope of things, it will just keep it a little bit easier for them to contain. And you can now get Little Big Planet on PS5.
It's not like it's gone. That's kind of a Nintendo approach to do it, though. There is one. Go play that. But
it's the
at the same time, we don't know the numbers of how many people were on those servers. Maybe it was very minor. I don't know that.
I don't know. But what we do know is Total War Warhammer 3 has been delayed. We'll now see a release in early 2022. The extra time will allow developer Creative Assembly to do more. The developer Creative Assembly announced via Twitter. I know that's normally how it works, isn't it?
That's kind of the point.
We just want a holiday, so we're going to delay the game. But they took to Twitter that the hotly anticipated Total War Warhammer 3 will now be released in early 2022, making a delay for the strategy game that previously was scheduled to come out this year. In a statement, Creative Assembly shifted. Dude, there's been a lot of statements just given out on Twitter today. Like, it's been nuts. But
that's just their pipeline to the news nowadays.
It's just easier,
it's
right?
Sign of the times.
Hey, you're following us here. This is what's going on. Creative Assembly shifted the release window for the latest entry in the strategy series in order to make for a stronger release and the best step into a new era of Total War Warhammer. Quote, we don't consider this release the end of our trilogy, but the start of years of content and support as we continue to bring the jaw-dropping scale of games Workshop's fantasy universe to Total War. So it's not all bad, and they actually announced a new faction as well. So there you go.
It's sounding better as it goes on. A lot of people are really crazy about Warhammer, and Total War Warhammer is kind of a strange offshoot of Total War, normally based around historical stuff, but they're all very well supported. So when they say that they're going to add more content, years of content, that I have full confidence in that. That'll be quite large, perhaps the size of the game again.
Yeah, probably, right? And I think it's a good move. Yeah, we've all seen what happens when you don't release a finished game. So why not spend more time to make sure it's developed right and have a standout launch? That's what your ultimate goal is, to have a solid launch so that you get the player base in and then you're able to keep them around and maintain them within the game. What happens is we've seen the games of service struggle, Scott, because they launch and then, dude, there's just nothing left, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But Scott, what games are coming out today, buddy?
We have a whole two of them. There is Cruise and Blast on the Switch. That sounds kind of fun. And then Deathloop on PlayStation 5 and PC. I just learned this moment that it's on PC. Gonna have to check that.
Dude. Everybody should go check out Deathloop over at InsideTheGame.ca. You can find out my review and all my thoughts on that game. There's a lot to talk about, and I was gracious enough to actually get Steve a code this morning, so I'm pretty pumped for him to play that.
Very nice.
Yeah, and get in and take a look to see how he thinks of the systems. Dude, it's getting raved reviews. It's definitely going high. A lot of people are really, really enjoying this game. It's not to say I didn't enjoy it. I actually did. I thought it was great. I thought Arcane Studios is right on point. I think they're on fire once again, but it does give me that, man, Dishonored. Just give me a Dishonored 3 kind of feel, right? So
it's really a loving pain.
Absolutely, it is. I don't know if we'll ever see another Dishonored game, Scott, especially moving into this. And everybody loved it, right? There's a cult following for Dishonored, and then now Deathloop dropped, and it seemed to hit a broader audience. And I think that was the best move for Arcane, because this Dishonored just wasn't connecting with everybody. That's the problem.
No, it joins the pantheon of dead game series now.
Dead stealth games.
Surprisingly, all stealth games, yeah.
But dude, I played Deathloop as a stealth game. But either way, Scott, that's going to wrap up today's show. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. This is ITG Daily, show that brings you all the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew, that's Scott. We'll see everybody tomorrow inside the game.